This was not the direction that I thought this franchise was going to go in, but here we are, so let's talk about it. Hi everyone, my name is Ryan. Welcome into the channel. Today we'll be discussing the action film called Godzilla x Kong, The New Empire. Now this film, it was directed by Adam Wingard, and he's done films like the first Godzilla vs. Kong, Blair Witch 2016, and also You're Next. The film, it stars Rebecca Hall, Brian Tyree Henry, Dan Stevens, and Kaylee Hottle. Now the official plot on IMDb says that it's two titans, Godzilla and Kong, clash in an epic battle. I'm here to tell you that that plot is completely false. That's not what this movie is actually about. Now this movie, it really focuses on the human aspect, so if you really want to hear about a human story, you're really going to like this film. Now you have Rebecca Hall, her daughter, Brian Tyree Henry, who is a podcaster, and you have Dan Stevens. They all go on this journey to Hollow Earth. They hear these distress calls, they investigate them, and they have Kong down there. Kong's feeling very lonely. He goes into this realm. It's the subterranean realm where he sees this baby monkey and he discovers this new world. And then you have the humans there that go on this expedition. I'm going to call it a Dora the Explorer expedition because that's exactly what it is. A lot of this film, especially for the first 70 to 80 minutes, is them going on this expedition. They're going to discover a new world, so to speak. There's a tribe there, there's apes there, and the film, it turns into a Planet of the Apes film, which is something that I don't like. I don't like that franchise, and once that really appears in this film, I just was starting to get really turned off by this film. Kong is a lot more present in this film. He has a lot more of a role here. He's discovering these apes. He fights with them a little bit. Godzilla, though, he's the first one on the poster, and he's barely in this film. There's a lot of shots where they just show him very briefly, and he doesn't have a lot of things to actually do in this plot. A lot of times he's off in Cairo, he's in the Arctic Ocean, he's in Spain where he's getting shot by missiles. I felt like there were so many different switches of locations. I felt like I was watching Fast and Furious 9 or something because they switched the locations so many freaking times in this film. However, there are parts where they do switch locations and there are some cool little action moments, specifically when Kong, he actually goes to find Godzilla because he needs his help, and he actually fights him on top of the pyramid in Cairo. I thought that was really cool, but it was really brief. Visually, there's a lot of neon colors in this film, and I think a lot of times when Kong is in this subterranean realm, I like the color scheme. It looks really clear and it looks really nice on screen, but I don't think the world looks a lot different than the world that he actually lives in. Now, towards later in the film, especially within the third act of the film, I think some of the VFX and some of those other kinds of visuals, they're not really good. They're very lazy, sloppy. They feel like they're very unfinished. It feels clumsy and clunky. The plot overall and just the whole structure of the movie, there is no structure. It's all over the place. It feels very convoluted within the plot. I feel like there will be three groups of people for this kind of movie. First, you'll have those people that want the humans more to be involved and more of a story and background into their whole realm of this whole Godzilla and Kong expedition. I think they're going to like this film if they are looking for that. Then you have people like me that really want action. They want fighting scenes. They want Godzilla and Kong to go at it because that's what the plot on IMDb promises. Then you have a third group of people that will just take this film for what it is. It's bonkers. It goes wild and crazy with its different plot devices, certain characters that it introduces, and it just feels like a mess on screen, and it feels very exhausting by the time we get to the third act. I have talked a lot of negatives about this film, but there were a few positives that I can say about it. Now, visually, I love when we're in the subterranean realm. I like when Kong is over there looking up at the sky. He sees the monkey for the first time. Those visuals look really cool on screen, and I like discovering that new world. I love that Kong here, he gets a lot more screen time. We get to see him interact with these apes and just just see kind of his feeling and where he's really at. Brian Tyree Henry, I liked his character as well. He's this down on his luck podcaster, and while that's a very generic trope within Hollywood, as someone is always down on their luck, it feels like, I thought that he actually added some comedic elements within the film. Kind of made you chuckle a little bit. There were times where I definitely was laughing at him, and I felt like he really helped elevate the film at certain points in the film. Seeing Rebecca Hall and her relationship with her daughter, obviously her daughter is deaf, and I'm not sure if she's deaf in real life. I believe she is. I could be wrong, but I did like seeing that relationship unfold. Her daughter isn't doing very well in school, and she's very concerned about Kong and her whole character arc with wanting to go to Hollow Earth and see what's going on with Kong and going on this journey. I was on board for that. And they go on the ship and they go to explore this new subterranean realm world. I like that they made that into kind of like a superhero kind of realm sequence, because it's kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's kind of goofy, it's fun, it has a cool feel to it. The characters are really enjoying themselves, and I had a fun time with that sequence. Music-wise in this film, I like the Kiss song, I Was Made for Loving You. That was a fun moment within the soundtrack. Nothing really else within the soundtrack that I really enjoyed, but I did like that song. I was definitely singing along while that was going on screen, and it definitely made it for a fun little moment within the film. There's a lot of exposition where they kind of treat the audience like a really dumb, and we don't really understand what's going on. Something will happen, then they'll explain it, and it's like, we're not that stupid. We understand what's going on within the film. I just was so disappointed that this film, it promised to be an action film, and it really wasn't. We get 20 minutes of action, which that action wasn't too bad, but it does feel a little bit anticlimactic by the time the film actually wraps up, and it feels a little ridiculous within that third act of those fight scenes. But there are moments within those fight scenes where I was like, yes, this is what we wanted. This is what you pay to see a Godzilla Kong film. Most people are not really interested in the human characters, and a whole story just dumped in where we have to discover this new world, and we're just like on this expedition through the jungle. It's like, come on, like that's not what we paid for, to see that for pretty much 90 minutes of the film, and then pretty much just get 20 minutes of action. There's some cool things within that. You know, I like that there's a moment where there is a frozen part that goes in with like the kaiju where they freeze somebody. That was really cool, but again, we don't get a lot of cool moments like that. It's one of those things where you feel like you wasted your money because it's supposed to be an action film and that's what you're looking for, but it's just not that, unfortunately. So as far as the score for this film, I would only give it a 2 out of 5. It just wasn't what I was looking for in a film. It's such a drop off from the last film. I'm actually really surprised that this is the same director, because when I looked it up after the film, because I didn't even look up before I saw this film who it was, and I saw it was the same director, I was like, no way, because it just, the vibe is just so different. It's nothing like that last film, and that last film was a fun time, and this just wasn't fun enough for me. There just was just too many moments where I was just like, are we really going this route? And if it's going to continue on this route where we're going into like the Planet of the Apes type thing, count me out, because I'm just not interested whatsoever. However, I want to hear from you guys in the comments. What did you guys think about this film? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? And are you going to check it out in a theater? Are you going to stream it? Or are you going to skip it altogether? Leave any and all comments down in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.